Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Do forgive me if I keep looking that way, but there's a security camera there that I need to look at once in a while. I'm not a security officer or anything, don't worry. So I'm doing this from my office today, or my soon to not be office, as I'm moving on from this place onto another place, but that will come a bit later. So I wanted to touch on today's video something really important, which is going around the counties if you're in England at the moment, like there's no tomorrow. We're going to talk about pride. Now, I don't want to say we're going to talk about gay pride or lesbian pride or trans pride, whatever. We're just talking about pride in general. Okay, it's a really touchy subject for a lot of people. And I am, how do you describe this? I'm like a Twitter whore, basically, or an ex-whore. Take that as ever you want, but I love a good comment online, and I love to look at everyone's comments, and I like to see different points of view, which is always really good. But since probably 8 months ago, and in the last little election in May, since Reform has got in, and it's no secret that I was a Labour supporter. I'd been in the Labour Party, I'd run as a councillor a couple of times, never won a seat. Maybe that says more about me than anything else, but the area I live in up until the last general election was very conservative, and then they voted Labour, whether it was a protest vote or whatever, they still voted that party in. There we go, we've got to be realistic about it. It's what they asked for at the time, okay? And everyone knows that it comes with a 4-year guarantee most of the time, unless there's a by-election. Obviously, if someone drops out, normally there's a by-election. Normally, I always believe there should be, but that's just me. So since Reform has taken the county council, and this isn't local borough councils I'm talking about, it's county councils. They won the vote, there you go, they're in. Democracy, that's how it works, okay? They're every couple of years, I think, anyway, for county councillors. Borough councillors are every year or every 2, and then you've got general elections every 4 to 5 years, okay? So, in the last couple of months, all I've seen is, Reform are removing flags, removing this, removing pride flags, removing books from libraries. Okay, so let's just go over a couple of these things individually. So I fly one flag at home, right? I have a Union flag, but that's because I do love my country that I live in. I love England, I love the United Kingdom, I love its rich history, I love its culture. Now, a lot of our culture and history is borrowed from a lot of places all around the world. Lots of people don't really realise that. You want to go back to Henry II, who was French, but he was still king. So you want to go back to William Conqueror, and all that. The most we can boast of is Guy Fawkes, who spent more time in Italy and Spain than he did really in England. So we've always had that divide here. But that's fine, because we take different cultures. I mean, our national dish is a curry. So, and no one's had an issue with that. No one's had an issue with anything up until the last couple of months, maybe a year or so. Although these things have been going on for a long time with immigration and open borders, etc., although we don't have open borders, because that's not how a border works, but that doesn't matter, that's besides the point of this video. So, going back to the pride situation, so I'll give you a background of myself. I came out when I was 19, quite late these days. I'm 33 now, although I look about 100. 19 I came out. I'd never seen a pride thing before. I'd never been on a march or anything like that. I'd never seen it. For me, I'm not really big on very large crowds, so it didn't really appeal to me. I did go to a pride when my first pride was in Canterbury, which is in Kent, just down the road from where I live, and I took 2 friends with me. Is it 2 or 3? I don't remember, maybe it was 3. But we went there, we had a good laugh. There was music, there was laughter, there was drinking, there was food, there was games, nobody got arrested, nobody was being violent to one another, everyone was dancing. Yes, some of the outfits were a bit suggestive, and I'm against that entirely, but then again, I'm the kind of person I won't take my top off on the beach. So, everyone does these things in different environments. Like, there were some men walking around with tops off, but if you go to a beach, you're not offended by that because it's the right scenario. Well, you can play semantics with that as much as you want. So I went to that Pride, and then after that I never went to another one. Not because I didn't enjoy it, but because it was just too loud and it wasn't my scene. Fast forward a good few years, I was the LGBT officer for the Labour Party in Ashford, where I live. Okay, that's a voluntary role. There's no wages, there's no expenses, there's no nothing. You do everything off your own back along with the party, right? Which, by the way, are all volunteers. Nobody gets paid on that party. They're an allowance for the whole party, as in office spaces, etc. But most of it's through fundraising, to be fair. People miss out those fine details when they go, oh, they spent this much. No, they fundraised for this much. Anyway, so I got invited by the Mayor and our Member of Parliament to walk in the front of the march with them, and it was really, really something. Again, I was really nervous because it was a big crowd, you know, it was a couple of thousand people, and the two organisers, the two main organisers, they were fabulous. You know, they'd done such an amazing job. Again, voluntary, alongside their own jobs. The council gave very little funding, and that's been one of the biggest things, is everyone's going, it's taxpayers' money, it's taxpayers' money. 98% of the funding for any Pride is done by fundraising and sponsorship by big corporations. I know Tesco's is one, Bidfood, Brakes. They all, you know, they all jump on these things and they all donate, you know. So when people go, it's all taxpayers, but it's not, I'm afraid. It's paid for by a lot of companies. A lot of companies do charity stuff for tax write-offs anyway. They'll do it for most things. They'll sponsor most people for most things. So it's not just organisations like this, because you think, if you've got somewhere like Ashford Pride, with 4,000 people, Tesco's is worth billions. They probably think, okay, but there's £1,000, we'll sponsor you. It makes all the difference. So we can get rid of the taxpayers myth a little bit. You know, the most I've ever seen from taxpayers is £1,200 in some borough, which was given by 4 different councillors out of their community grants. Now, if you've got 4,000 people coming to a town, and say 2,500 don't live here, right, which is probably about the case, they're going to all spend, say, a tenner each in shops. You do the maths, local businesses earning money. That's really what most things are about these days, is earning money. They're not about anything else, let's face it. So, you know, overall, in my experience, Pride is a good thing in that sense as well. And reading some of the comments, some of the words that people are writing, like, when did we go so backwards? Perverts, paedophiles, the F word, which I'm not going to say. Queer, a lot of gay people use that word these days. I don't like that word personally, because in the era I grew up as a gay person 20 years ago, being called queer meant you were ill. And, you know, it was, you go back in further, you could be killed for being gay, put in prison for being gay. You know, if it's illegal to be gay and people don't want people to be advertised being gay, then if we haven't got the same rights, then why should gay people pay tax? Guarantee you on paper tomorrow, if they said, well, gay people are exempt for paying tax because X, Y, and Z, half the population would be like, yeah, I'm gay now, mate, yeah. And then the other one, when straight pride. Now, the best thing about organising something is you can organise it. This is the most amazing thing. Like, I go to a lot of military days, and especially in November and in June, and then there's Military Odyssey in August, which is amazing, 3-day big event. It's humongous. It's fantastic, and I love it. And, you know, they're all there for the same purpose, which is the best thing about these events, is everyone's there for the same purpose. Now, you get some people protesting at these events. That's fine. You live in a democracy where you can protest and you can do the march. They don't go alongside each other, because that's not how it works, obviously. If you're protesting about someone's sexuality, then that's a bit dark age and a bit weird. And then they're all Christians about it, although Christians are meant to love people, but never mind. We're all made in God's image, apparently. But we cherry pick all that stuff as well. We'll get onto that in another video, because I would love a debate with a religious person about this, because I think it's fascinating. Not just a debate, but a point of view. I love a point of view. Now, going on to the library stuff quickly, and this video is running longer than I anticipated, but oh well. The library sort of stuff, getting rid of gay literature, as it were. That's how it is put, gay literature. Well, anything where 2 men involved, then several Shakespeare books, several Dickens books, You know, anything with history reference. So if we're getting rid of anything that might turn someone gay, let's get rid of anything about serial killers. Let's get rid of anything about murder. Let's get rid of anything about war, because we don't want those things either. But it's part of history. It's part of what makes the sort of community what it is. Not just necessarily the community, but it's also from an understanding point of view, an educational point of view for parents as well, to go, you know, signs that my child might be gay or whatever. Worst mistake parents can do, by the way, and I'm saying this from experience because I was asked and it pushed me back, is asking your child if they're gay when, because trust me, they will approach you when they're ready to say it. Try to be understanding. It's not an easy thing to say either, especially in now. It should be the easiest time to say I'm gay, but actually it's probably the hardest time again. And I feel sorry for young people because they're expressing themselves in a way that they don't particularly need to express themselves in. But it's what maybe they're comfortable, maybe they're trying to prove a point. Who knows? Who knows what's in the mind of a young person that wants to just flourish and be themselves? I don't know. But the core message of this is people that hate on Pride, hate on anyone that might be different from them, is just why? Because me being gay doesn't affect your life. Me going down the street marching in a Pride festival does not affect anyone's life at all that doesn't want to be there. It's just a day out, walking around with a couple of banners, a few flags. There we go. Oh well, support it. Support the person, maybe not the project, because the likelihood is you know 2 or 3 gay people and you're friends with a few, and actually there'll be some people in the closet, which is really hard sometimes to come out of, that won't come out because of the rhetoric and the literature and the language that is used. Rant over about Pride. Now, there's some safe havens for people that are in the closet and struggling, or struggling in general, not just people, by the way, in the LGBT community or whatever, but in any community. You talk to Samaritans, you talk to people that like that, they are there to advise and to listen. It's important to be listened to. So don't think it's just for gay people or whatever. These lines are for everyone. They are literally for every individual, no matter what colour, creed, race, whatever, religion, who cares. At the end of the day, the point is everyone's just a human. So everyone deserves a small chance. But that's my video. That's just a rant I had to do about Pride. Coming soon though is my first upload of my new history videos, which will just be basically castles and bits like that, and also the release of my second short history book, a short history of Dover Castle, as my last one was a short history of the Gunpowder Plot. I have to plug it, why not? And then also mine and Lauren's podcast, The Long Haul, will be coming back soon. She's had quite an adventure herself the last couple of months, so it's been a bit of a whirl moment, but I hope to catch you soon.